again, I don't like when people are telling you that this is how it is, that in your past life you were a witch and you were burned at the cross. And sure, everybody was burnt, all of us, and all of us were Cleopatras and Caesars and whatever. And when we don't know, when we don't remember who we are, when we don't know what we're supposed to be doing in this world, when we don't arrive with a user's manual to this body, when we don't understand what's going on, pains, aches, it's so easy to just go with the first explanation, believe whatever anybody is saying with a lot of conviction. So I don't like to say that this is exactly what happened to you. I just spark emotional states, emotional possible memories. And the only thing I know for sure is that if you still respond to any of those emotions, then there is still something in your biofield that has receptors for it. I'm looking into birth trauma and prenatal trauma. Those are the muscle memories that you have before you had any words for what this experience might mean, before you had any means to justify what's happening right now, before you were able to give any context to, oh, this is only happening because my mother is stressed out right now. Well, that's fine. Then it doesn't mean that the entire world is a dangerous place. It just means that she is a bit upset. You didn't have that ability to compute. Your muscle memory stores information in the form of vibrational frequencies. If your vibrational frequencies are tuned to fear, sadness, anger, any kind of negative emotions, then you develop and nurture receivers for entire consciousness collectives who operate solely based on those frequencies. I'm only saying that if you emotionally respond to any of these thoughts, then your biofield still has receivers for these thoughts. And there's nothing wrong with that. But becoming aware of it allows you to change things around, to take your power back and slowly turn them into a different form of consciousness, into a more relaxed, more open form of consciousness. So if there are any feelings around never finding home, never feeling safe, moving quite a lot, or being agitated or restless quite a lot, feeling like the environment is toxic around you, or too much, too noisy, too violent, feeling like people are always attacking you, feeling like that someone else is trying to take over your space, having a fear that you are not strong enough, capable enough, talented enough, smart enough, valuable enough to do things on your own, rather feeling like that you always have to rely on someone, or feeling like that you have to beg for other people's help, feeling like that you are begging for that help and nobody answers, feeling like you're unheard, unseen, that you're literally shouting into the void and nobody is responding. Feeling like you're the second one and not the chosen one. Feeling like you're the best of a bad situation instead of the special guest or the celebrated one. Feeling like you are just tolerated instead of loved. Feeling like you have to fight for everything in life. Nothing comes easy. Everything is a struggle. Everything is such a strenuous hurdle that by the time you actually get what you wanted, it's just not worth anymore, because you've exhausted yourself to the point when it doesn't give you anything back when you finally get it. Feeling like you are actively rejected by other people. Feeling like the entire world is somehow against you. Somehow everybody else seems to have found their peace, their place, the community where they belong. But you somehow just didn't. You haven't found home. You haven't found a family. And I should have a t-shirt that says, "Ask me about circumcision." And any kind of feelings where your body is just really unnaturally sensitive. You don't like the top of your head being touched. You don't like your feet being touched. You don't like your hands being touched. You don't like being naked in front of others. You're very scared that your body might not be, not just that it's not attractive to other people, but that there is something wrong or something faulty with your body. Having painful experiences when you are aroused or during sex, or having a fear of how your own body functions, or having any kind of shame around who you are in your body, or anything painful around sexuality, anything physically painful. That was a lot. Probably that was a broad enough segment that you will have it. It's like I'm carpet bombing it. You must have at least one of those, or must empathize with at least one of those. Usually we are. Now, those, they are not necessarily a birth trauma or a prenatal trauma, but it's very likely that your body at some point, your baby body, your fetal body at some point, have experienced states of consciousness that lodge themselves into your body, into your biofield, into your biology. And it opens up receiver spaces for those thought forms to communicate with. If you or anybody you know is circumcised, or in female case, we call it genital mutilation. In the case of males, we somehow just call it healthy. It's not. If anything has happened to you in or during or after a hospital birth that somehow physically impacted your body, such as you being put into an incubator, or had certain injections that were supposedly healthy for you, the first people who touched your body were very cruel to your body. If you ever, you don't have to, but I did. If you ever watch footage of infants being circumcised, you understand exactly who runs this world. Beings who can do things like that to other human beings do not have your best interest at their hearts, even if they're called your doctors. What a lot of, especially it's a massive habit in America, that once you lose the most sensitive part of your genital, you quite literally lose sensation. and a lot of emotional ability to generate certain brain chemicals, certain hormones that would enable you to connect with other beings. And I looked back at my own dating history, and it's something very personal and very painful for me. It wasn't just the only reason, but it was one of the main reasons. The partner that I felt closest to and I loved the most was just somehow so insensitive, physically and emotionally, and so incapable of true intimate connection. And he was circumcised. And compared to other partners, you know, back in the day, I just did the same thing with different partners. So I'm doing the same thing, and different partners report back wildly different sensations. I had partners who were like, my entire body is tingling. What are you doing? And this partner that I loved so much, and I would have loved for him to love me as well, needed such violent physical excitation to feel anything. And it was such a, it was such, violent is my best word for it. It was it wasn't a big deal. You know, it was not sadomasochistic, but compared to my innocence around sexuality, what he needed to have in order for him to have an orgasm, it was brutal for me. The amount of desensitized numbness that he had in his body, it was ridiculous. And so it can, I'm just mentioning it because it can quite physically affect us, that we lose a body part or we lose certain chemicals, because a lot of drugs that they have given to your mother at a hospital birth, they block natural serotonin and oxytocin production, which means that your brain literally doesn't learn how to produce oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the love hormone. So a lot of things have happened to this body, physically, biologically, chemically, that are keeping us numb, desensitized. And if anything traumatic, and again, trauma, we did mention it in the trauma episode, that trauma can be the slightest thing that is so out of place for your baby body and your baby consciousness, that the only way how you can protect yourself is to dissociate, which means that you want to take yourself out of your present moment reality. You don't want to be present with yourself. And later on, it can manifest as you're doing drugs. You don't want to be present with your body. You play video games, you fantasize. You're never present with your partner. You're literally fantasizing about somebody else while you're with your partner, because you feel unsafe to be in your body because something so horrendous happened to your body, such as circumcision, or a lot of things that happen to this body. Let's not close on that note.